So I've crawled underneath my car here to give you a little bit better view of the rear end assembly, drivetrain and suspension, and a little overview of what I've worked on over the past few days. So I disassembled the entire rear section. I took off the trailing arms, the half shafts, drive shaft, the bearing housing, the shock mount, the camber arms, camber bracket. I also removed the differential cover, which some people refer to as a batwing. I took that off and cleaned it up. It had about, well, the entire rear end had about 40 years of road grime and debris built up on it. So it was quite the quest to scrub everything, clean everything, and get it back to looking halfway good. Once I disassembled the trailing arms and the bearing housings, I took those with the half shafts, the drive shafts, and had those media blasted to get all the rust and crud off of them. And then I had those powder coated, bright silver metallic. Once I had that done, I took my trailing arms with the bearing housings and a bearing kit and seals that I'd bought to Duntov Motor Company. They race Corvettes, build Corvettes, and so they put those together for me. I also redid the calipers. I did a video on that. So I took the calipers off. They were completely rusted up. The pistons were corroded and seized up. So I took those apart and cleaned these with a wire brush, and then I sprayed them down pretty good with a rust restore converter spray, which I guess stops the rust or slows it down anyways. And I painted those, I just spray painted those black. I ordered a piston repair kit, so I rebuilt all the pistons. I cleaned those out, put the new pistons in, the new seals. I also did my own brake lines. I bought a forming tool to form the brake lines. I also brought a flaring tool because I thought it would be cheaper, but really all the time I spent in labor forming and flaring, probably would have been much better off just purchasing a stainless steel brake line kit. So anyways, if you're planning on doing these yourself, you've never done it before, I would not recommend it. It's a chore. So once I got all my parts, my new hardware, my new camber arms, got my parts back from the powder coater, got my trailing arms rebuilt and bearings pressed in, I assembled everything. I put a new gasket and new fluid in my differential, and I bolted everything up. And that's pretty much it. The only problem I really ran into is when I assembled the differential and I put the trailing arms and the drive shaft on so I could just slip everything in, the yoke into the transmission. And I did that and I bolted everything up, and it wasn't too hard. There's two bolts here, and I did all this by myself with a floor jack. It would be exponentially easier if you had a couple sets of hands to help you, but I did this all by myself in the garage. Once I had everything put in, bolted in, I strapped in my U-joints, but then I realized there's a bushing mount right there, that one place. And so that was all I had left to do. And I thought if I just put a jack under that and jacked it up, there'd be enough space for me to get my hands and get the bushing in with with the bolt and the nut, but there wasn't. So so what I had to do is just, I took the rear end back out, and I put the top part and the bolt for that differential bushing in the little bracket. Then I put everything in there, and it was still kind of hard, but anyways, I got it done. So the differential's mounted in, and then I just put everything back in. So right now what I'm waiting on is is my fiberglass leaf spring. I've already purchased the new hardware for that. So here in the next couple of weeks I'll have that in, and I'll put that in an updated video. Also, you can see the cross member brake line that I put in, and I'm still have my fingers crossed that all my flares seal correctly at the fittings. So that's pretty much it. Thanks.